You mentioned his name. I want to talk about Rick Selito because Crowd Goes Wild. Man, I think you joined in 2009. I watched it all the time. Those 3 years, 2009, 10, 11, I think. Like, it was such a good show. It still is now, but that cast of characters you had then was sort of iconic. But Rick in particular, what was your relationship with him? How did he get in contact with you, and what were your first impressions?
He got in contact with me when I was living down in Wanaka. I think he wanted a couple of snowboarding stories. He'd seen me on Dancing with the Stars. He'd seen me on Treasure Island, which actually I think helped me here in the New Zealand media, and just wanted me to do a couple of casual stories for Crowd Goes Wild. And then when I came back to live in Auckland, I got in touch with him and I basically said, give me a job. And Rick being Rick said, okay, you start at 10 o'clock on Monday.
Yeah.
I'll see you at my desk in my office. So he's just a legend. I would see him not like a dad, because he's more of that, that uncle who just really looks out for you. You can have fun with him. He lets you be who you are, but he's going to have your back no matter what. He's so loyal. He used to come in and sort of throw his weight around the office, and people would get a bit annoyed, but I just thought he can. This is his show. He can do whatever he likes. I am thankful for him for taking me through that. When I was at Crowd, it was 8 years. I went downhill quite fast with my drinking whilst I was there, and then I gave up when I was still there, and he supported me through all of that too. So, yeah, he's got a special place in my heart, old Rick Selito.
He's an amazing guy. He's done so much for New Zealand entertainment.
He's the one because we did a pod and he was over in the States and he kind of got cut short a little bit. He's the one guy that I'd love to do a second recording with in studio, because I feel like we only scratched the surface. There's so much to talk about with Rick.
He had so many stories, because he was at TVNZ, I think, when he first left broadcasting school.
Yeah.
And then, he was with the All Blacks. He's got so many good stories. And he was with the All Blacks when they were fun. They used to go out and have a lot of fun, and so there's some stories there. Yeah.
And you kind of, I'm not sure if the timeline's right, but you kind of got thrown in the deep end. Like, you were presenting, it seemed like you were presenting with Mulligan or McConey or Richardson quite early on in your stint. And from research, it surprised me that you weren't actually that into sport. Is that accurate? That you kind of had the sport hosting job, but you didn't really...
We're not meant to talk about that.
That was back then.
I love sport. I love
No, I love
now.
it.
I love it now.
Oh, I'm a sport nerd. No, yeah, and that was the whole point, is I knew alternative sports. So I was into snowboarding and skateboarding and surfing and motorsport and things that I thought were fun, but not rugby. We used to call rugby egg ball. And I think I would watch a game, but I'd drink whilst everyone was watching the game. But Rick used that as a strength, so he thought that I could go out and ask the questions that other people might be too embarrassed to ask, or just wouldn't think of asking because they're too in it. And I got some great interviews. I remember one of my first interview was when Simon Mannering first became captain of the Warriors, and we were doing a big stand-up. And I think I asked him, what did his mum think? And he just, got some tears in his eyes and got a really honest, sort of authentic answer. So I could ask those stupid questions and get some humanity from some of these sports players. Yeah.
You definitely had that appeal, and very different, but kind of similar to Lee Hart in Sports Cafe. It's like he's appealing to the people that aren't really into sport. They're just there for something different or irrelevant.
But I think everybody's into sport. They're into the fun of it. They're into the fandom of it. They're into the fact that you can sort of get your tribe. But people don't really want to break down, the set plays or stats so much, I mean, sport's fun. And I think everyone in New Zealand loves sport of some kind. So we could just sort of get that everyday New Zealander to come along as well. Rick would also set me up. The very first cold call I had to do was to Buck Shelford.
Oh.
He gave me his number and said, call him, and we're doing a story on coloured boots, and I want you to ask him, what he thinks of these flash new coloured boots. So I had to ring up Buck.
You knew who Buck Shelford was?
I knew who he was.
Okay,
Yeah, because my dad my dad loved sport,
Yeah.
you know. Everyone's dad loves sport. So he was kind of my era when I was a kid, still watching it with Dad. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Hi,
his
Buck, the hardest man in rugby. What do you think about pink shoes?
Who is this?
Pretty much. But he was good. I think Rick may have given him a heads up
Yeah.
because he said yes, and then we went and did an interview with him.
So while your castmates have been quite closed from CGW, we had an episode with Josh Kronfeld, and he told a ripping yarn, excuse the pun, about when he tore his scrotum on a shoot. Do you have any, obviously not scrotum ripping tales to tell, but any, like, from your time in the field, or any great yarns from that CGW 8 years?
Oh, man. I mean, we had so much fun. Most of the fun was in the office, actually, talking about the stories. But I remember making Josh look quite stupid on one of those electric surfboard things in a lake, because he was a surfer.
Yeah.
You know, I think he fancied himself, but he was a big guy. So, yeah, I made him look silly because I could do it and he couldn't. I don't know. Most of the great stories, I was sort of hungover. You know, when you're in that sort of really funny, I used to call it plastic brain type sort of vibe, and I'd come out with something really great. I think I did.
Was that encouraged on the on the show, in the production? Like, did Rick or anybody know that they got their best stuff out of you when you were in that sweet spot?
It wasn't encouraged, but it was accepted. Rick's rule was you can do whatever you like as long as you turn up for work. So it doesn't matter what state you're in, but as long as you turn up. Yeah.
Did you always adhere to that rule?
No, I did not. I mean, I remember setting up this story that I was quite excited about with some horse riders of some sort. I think it was polo players, and they got all of their horses. Oh my God. I'm so ashamed. They got all of their horses to the spot, you know, and they were waiting there, and they had to ring up the office and say, you know, where's Hayley? Basically, we've all taken a day off work and got our horses here, and she's not here. And they couldn't wake me up. So that was terrible. God. Yeah, not good.
And I want to, I know these things aren't always comfortable to talk about as well, so I think it's important to frame it as having come out the other side as well, because I think there's people that are probably listening to this that are maybe in that situation now, so it's important for us to kind of contextualize it as well. It's not us picking holes in the bits that you did and those sorts of things as well. But yeah, it's amazing that you were, I guess, functioning, knowing that behind the scenes there was a real battle maybe going on in your own life.
Yeah, and at the time it wasn't a battle. You know, I was loving it. I was having a really, really good time. But it was just starting to get harder and harder to get to work. So I was having, you know, a moment where I didn't turn up for work. I had that time in Las Vegas where I didn't go to the Sevens, which is why we were there. And so when those things started happening, I sort of started thinking, yeah, maybe my friends and my family and everyone who knows me is right about my drinking. Yeah. I don't know. It took a long time, and it took a lot of those experiences before I decided to do something about it. And it wasn't until I had loved ones going through the same thing that I could see it, that I thought, okay, well, maybe if I do it, then they can see that it can be done as well. And then I had a really good friend who went into AA, and they say AA is a disease because it's really catching. It's a catching disease. You sort of see people that you love go into it and their life change, and how good it is for them that you decide you want that for yourself.
Was that the moment for you when you saw the benefits that had on that person?
Absolutely. And also my drinking buddy had gone, because her and I we had a rip-roaring time. It was such a laugh. Our friends didn't like it so much, you know, and so I think, you know, it's that catching disease. She started dating somebody who was in AA, and he took her along after a couple of accidents, and then I followed because I was lonely. At that stage, you know, she was sort of the last resort.
When you look back at your whole journey with alcohol, like, because you started quite early, right? You were sort of 14 and having beers and stuff, and it was kind of normalized. Like, do you feel like that that led to it sticking around for a longer time?
Yes, I think so. I mean, my family were that typical Kiwi sort of middle class family, and they'd have big parties, and they'd all be drinking beers, and everyone was having a rip roaring time. And so I saw that drinking was fun. And then I think it's the ADHD rather than being. I used to say I was introverted, but I think it's actually the ADHD. When I'm in big groups, I get overwhelmed, and so I sort of shut down a little bit. Drinking helped me shut that part of my brain off, and so then I wouldn't worry, or I wouldn't be self-conscious. And so at the time, it actually worked for a while. It was actually a really good tool to have a social life. And yeah, I had a lot of fun. It was good. And people, when you're young and you're in that sort of snowboarding, skateboarding scene, telling the stories the next day was all part of it, you know? And if you are the one out there sort of, making a bit of a fool of yourself or giving them something to talk about, then you're kind of a hero.
Yeah, have you got those hero stories in your friend group of kind of your feats of achievements while you've been drinking?
I mean, yeah, but when I first gave up drinking, I thought I would write a really good story about those stories. But when you look back on them after some time, they're not as funny as you thought they were at the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there was some legendary nights, that's for sure. My girlfriend and I would used to wrestle for some reason.
Okay.
Like, we'd be at like a really nice dinner party, and all of a sudden we're wrestling on the ground.
Yeah,
or
right.
I've got their son's skateboard, and I'm trying to do ollies on the deck and waking up mum downstairs or something. Or jump. I used to love jumping off things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're a really good face for where you're at now because your story is, no, but they were good times. Like, I had a lot of fun with it as well. It serves me a lot better now not doing it.
Yeah.
But that is kind of, I think that's everyone's journey with alcohol. Like, no, the good times are good, but it's the what expense the bad times. And was there a rock bottom? Like, was there a moment that led to you going like clean off the booze?
There was a moment, but I wouldn't call it my rock bottom. I probably had quite a few rock bottoms, but you just wake up and find your car and get on with life. This one was, I had a cousin who was also, she had her own drinking sort of issue, and she'd been told by the doctor she needed to give herself 2 months off because she was getting sick with it. And I remember being at my uncle's birthday party and just going, oh, come on, you can have one, I want my drinking buddy. And rubber arm, old rubber arm over there, had a few beers, and then you have a few beers, and then you have a lot. And then the next morning, she was awfully sick, like so sick, because her body just couldn't take it. And I felt so bad. I felt bad as well because I was hungover, but I just felt like I'd done that to her just by selfishly wanting someone to have a good time with. And that's when I said that I've got to do something. I'm going to take this 2 months off that her doctor had told her that she needed, and I'll do it with her. I think in the back of my mind I knew it was something bigger because my friend had already been to AA, but I didn't tell myself that because I didn't want to scare myself off. And so I went home, picked up a six-pack, sat on the deck. I was on a Sunday and drank my last beers. Quite sort of maudlin-like. I was sitting there on the deck going, oh, I'm such a bad person. Oh, having the beers, And then I woke up and stopped drinking for 2 months. And then at the end of that 2 months, I was like, oh, God, this is so much better, and I've got a problem. And so I went to AA.
When did you announce it to people?
Oh,
Did you wait for the 2 months? Did you wait for you to have actually done a bit of it before telling anyone?
definitely. Because I'm kind of a bit of, that awkward personality. When someone wants you to do something, I don't want to do it.
Oh, you and me are the same person.
Yeah.
We're the same
I know.
person.
Isn't it annoying? It's like you want to do something,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
as soon as someone goes, oh, that's
You should do
great,
this.
you should,
I'm not
you
gonna do
should
it.
continue.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, no.
Yeah, I'm not going to do
Ruined
it.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I did wait, and then I went to AA, and then I told my parents that I was going to AA, and they were like, "What? But you're not an alcoholic," because in their mind, an alcoholic was basically a hobo. Someone who was smelly and didn't go to work, who everyone knew was an alcoholic. So it took them a while to come on board, but it was honestly the best thing that ever happened to my mother was me giving up drinking. Yeah.
Because it's hard enough to, I guess, go through that journey just as a civilian, but you've got a public profile as well. So at what point did you decide to go public with it and actually make it a topic of conversation in media circles?
It might have been about a year in. I wanted to make sure that this was going to last, of course, and got a lot of life to live, so cross fingers. Yeah. But I think I did an interview with Canvas, and they spoke about the not drinking, and I sort of just told them about how good it was and how hard it was. Yeah. And I felt quite sure of it at that stage, so I was happy to sort of go out on a limb, because you do hear people who give up drinking and then they fall back off the wagon, and I didn't think it was going to happen.
Does it get tiresome? I understand the irony of asking this, but every long-form interview or sort of profile done on you sort of talks about your journey with alcohol? Or is it you see it as a good thing to help others?
I see it as a good thing, and it is my journey too. I mean, I couldn't really tell the story of my life without telling the story of alcohol, because it was such a big part of who I was. When I was drinking, it was who I was. I was the lad girl, who could. I couldn't really drink that well, but I would drink that well.
Yeah.
So it's a big part of my life, and as I said earlier, I don't regret it. I probably regret how long I did it for, but I mean, there were some good times that came with it.
Yeah. I want to talk about motherhood soon, but before we do, I just wanted to link back to CG Dub, because that group of characters you had there, Rick said how incredibly talented they were, and I sort of want to talk about the dynamic. Mark Richardson and Andrew Mulligan and James McConey and yourself have all gone on to have such great career, and I mean some of them were already in the middle of great careers. But did you realise what you had there at the time?
I did. I loved it. I definitely call it the glory years. Such a cool team, and they were all such individuals. Nobody was trying to be anybody else. Nobody was trying to outdo anybody else. They were all just who they were. And their characters were the characters that you see on the telly. So Mark would come in. He wouldn't even really say hi to anybody, and he'd walk down and sit in his corner and put his headphones on. And you're like, "Hey, Mark," and he's like, "Okay." And then you'd be having your conversations and having a laugh, and then all of a sudden you'd hear some really funny but quite cutting remark come out of the corner and be like, "Oh, Mark is listening." Yeah, he was there, but he wasn't really there. Yeah. I respect him. He's actually got a huge heart, old Mark Richardson.
Yeah, we did a pod with him, and same, came away really liking him. He doesn't care what anyone else thinks. He just is his own man, but such a likable guy when you actually sit down and talk.
It's one of our most popular episodes ever, I think, as well.
Yeah, people love him.
He is great. And I still carry this as a lesson from him. He wrote that book, Thinking Negatively.
Yeah.
Which people just thought was, him having a laugh at the time, but it's so true. When I took that and I started not expecting much from people. And then when they do, come to you with, they sort of exceed your expectations, you're so happy and joyous with what they've given you. And so it really helps to make you a happier person if you don't expect anything.
Did you bring that mindset into this episode?
No. I mean, it's harder to live than do, Yeah.
And then Miles is just the consummate professional, sort of holding the place together. And then you've got McConey, who is just absolutely brilliant.
He actually is a genius.
He emceed or was keynote at one of these Boys High things and did a Q&A and a speech. And I was like, mate, I don't know if there's anyone better at that sort of thing. He's got such genius there, right?
he is a genius. And what people don't realise about Makoni is he puts a lot of effort into his work. So it looks like it's just off the cuff and that, he's just turning up and having a laugh. But he really puts a lot of thought into his jokes, into his stories. I mean, if there was any great story or a song written, for Wales, say, he'd be behind it because he's definitely a comic genius. I mean, he is also who you see on air, so it's hard for him to focus and get that drive forward. Yeah. But I was texting him last night. We still like to text each other and have a gas bag.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
It's a shame you didn't come to the party with any Haley Holt info either.
I know, honestly. He would have had some good stuff.
He did.
I think maybe that's why they did it.
Yeah, I think, and that's a testament to you as well, I guess, for their care, their duty of care for you as a person. That they're like, actually,
we know too much.
Yeah, we'll keep these ones.
I know.
If she wants to share, she can, but it's not our story to tell.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Christmas parties were always legendary, and it was always like you get to see Haley at her best.
Right.
And if anyone new joined the team, it was always about like, oh my God, we've got a Christmas party coming up. And so actually they were quite disappointed when I gave up drinking just purely for the Christmas party shenanigans. But I remember one of them, Andrew Mulligan, was destroyed. I mean, he tried to keep up.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, nice.
And he ended up sleeping on a beanbag in my flat. I was living in a flat with some other girls. I think he woke up the next morning, went home and got about like $100 worth of McDonald's on the way home. And yeah, he always would warn people, don't try and drink with Haley.